Hi, everyone, and welcome to Watching Mental Health. And I am so excited because we have a brand new episode today and one that I actually had the chance to experience. And so I'm really excited to welcome to the show Stacey Nye, who's a transformational educator, master course creator, and dedicated teacher of the F.I.X code technique. So with over 20 years of international career producing some of the world's largest sporting events, including 4 Olympic Games, Stacey has developed what she calls her Rubik's Cube mind and the ability to see patterns, solve complexity, and bring vision to life at the highest level. But her greatest transformation really began after a deep personal turning point. And I think a lot of us who are listening to the show can relate to that. And what she describes as her own silent hell. 6 years later, she had her first session with the F.I.X code, and it changed everything. And today, she guides others through profound spiritual shifts with clarity, precision, and grace. And again, I am so excited to welcome to the show Stacey Nye and
Thank
to
you.
really jump into, the F.I.X code technique and what brought you here. But before we do any of that, I always like to ask all of my guests, first off, just to talk a little bit about, yourself and your background and, your story a little bit.
Sure. Well, you in the introduction we talked about you mentioned about my Rubik's Cube mind and how I came into that. And I was born into an incredible high performing family, very high in service. They were in the Olympic. Both my parents were a part of this 1976 Olympic build. So I was born in the 60s. So as my imprint years, those small years where a lot of stuff goes in, right? Like everything goes in between 0 and 7. And I just absorbed these beautiful minds and this visionary group of people that just built bigger than life stuff.
Yeah.
And like from a philosophy to a moral ethical, like an ethical, a spiritual, physical, like it was all encompassing.
Mhm.
So my childhood was awesome. My teen years were fabulous too, because this is when my father said, "You're coming with me." I'm like, okay, here we go. So off to Scotland and for the Commonwealth Games in 1986, I fell in love, and I was like, I know that this is what I want to do. I love it. Everything about it, the excitement, the speed, the no sleep, the energizing, the bigness of all of it, and I just love the thinking and the people,
Yeah.
and I was surrounded by excellence again.
Right.
So I turned it into a career and I absolutely loved my career. And I worked, as you said, for Olympic Games, Pan Am's, Commonwealth Games. And when I wasn't doing any of that, I was working on big international events that were going on around the world that required my skills, which is operations. I'm definitely not in the producing part or the creative part, or I'm in the let's get shit done part.
Right.
Like let's
Need
let's
you.
let's let's figure things out here. How are we moving 4 million people
Just
through
have
that
it on
door?
time part. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I just absolutely love the training that my mind was put through and also being put on the international stage my whole life.
Yeah.
Because when the evening that I call that night that changed my life, and many of us have, I didn't have trauma really before that. I didn't really know what it was.
Mhm.
I didn't have high skills in emotional health, or my life was pretty easy.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't have trauma. I didn't have chaos. I didn't live in any of that kind of stuff. I was really supported. I didn't know what life felt like not supported. I didn't even know that existed. All those kinds of things. Abandonment, like all of that stuff. I'm like, nope, didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
didn't know any of these words before
Yeah.
until that night that all hell broke loose in my life
Mhm.
and it was all like over in 6 seconds. It was just like boom, 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 like it just happened. And I had no skills to move forward. So this happened to me in 2002. So I was in my 30s and yeah, like I had no clue how to come out of this. I was thrown into the deep end of emotional chaos and trauma and post-traumatic stress and anxiety, all these words I had never even heard of. Like
Mhm.
if I was afraid of something, it was suck it up, cupcake. You're doing it anyways. Like, let's go. Like there was no, I'm not doing it. I'm panicking. I need to talk to somebody. Like that did not exist for me. I'm sure it existed, but I didn't know anything about it. So I used the only skill I had, which was suck it up, cupcake.
Sure.
And over time, that obviously doesn't
Yeah.
work. And I had to learn how to navigate through hurt, betrayal, terror, um, sadness, grief, bankruptcy. Like it didn't end.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. I just had to keep finding ways through this, like anger, like all of it. And I never felt any of these things. So I was like a 33-year-old, like basically between 33 and kind of 40. I was just like, okay, everything's fine. Like we're good. And I owned a big business at the time. I had a gymnastics club, so I had staff. I had to keep it together. I had a 5-year-old. Just I had to keep it all together.
It reminds me
And
of that meme of that guy, like the who's sitting in the with the fire around him. He's like, everything's fine, but the fire is all around, and it's like,
right
no,
there,
it's not. It's burning down.
exactly. Like I'm not gonna get hurt in this. I'm good. I'm good. We got this.
Right.
So that was me, like just smiling all the time and going, but I was crumbling on the inside. I was absolutely unraveling on the inside without question. I just didn't have a choice. I just couldn't unravel. So it's not that I just did it differently. I did it my way. I did it quietly. Nobody knew. I didn't talk about it. I didn't know I could or should or whatever. And I don't now that I know what I know, 16 years later after I've, been doing the fixed code, um, talk therapy doesn't work. A lot of things don't work. This works. And I'm proof of it because when I met Daniel 6 years after that night, and I was living in this silent hell of just doing it anyways, like terrified to go out the door, terrified to go to sleep because I may not wake up and my baby's in the next room. Like it was terror all the time. I couldn't get it together.
Mm.
And yet I was functioning. Um, and then all of a sudden, at that kind of 6 year mark, I ended up getting separated. And that was the last kind of foundation underneath me that, got swooped out from underneath my feet. And it was like I was free falling.
Yeah.
And again, nobody knew, but I was free falling on the inside. And an acquaintance had met Daniel at a mental health fair the week before, and he was doing this technique and helping people free. And she tried it and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible!" And said, "You've got to come to our little town. And I know this girl; she knows everybody, and she'll help you get this out there." So, not knowing that I was in trouble, like she had no idea that I was not okay mentally and emotionally. And so she made this appointment for me, and I
Mhm.
went to this appointment to meet this guy, and it was incredible. It changed my life. My very first session changed my life because my first code that I did was called SAD. My first session was called SAD. And when Daniel did the work with me, and it takes a couple minutes, and you know it, Katie, you know it. It just takes a couple minutes, and it's like I felt sad, and I was really sad. To in a couple of minutes of Daniel doing the work with me, I no longer could feel sad. I could see all the sad stories. I could see why I had been sad, but I couldn't feel sad.
Mm.
And I thought, this is genius. This is excellence. This, the whole world needs to learn how to do this. Like this is so the in that moment, I knew I wanted to figure out what he just did and teach as many people as I can on this planet how to do this. Because if we have people in our communities, in our schools, in our systems, and in our mental health world, where people can call at any time and have a fixed session, and it's done like that, and it's 5 minutes, and just help somebody, that's my dream. That's my mission. So I really am here to teach as many people as I can how to do this in all fields, like in the schools, in the mental health world, in business, in everywhere that people are, which is everywhere, where people need help. And right now, we do have a mental health crisis on the planet. We absolutely do. We know it, we see it, we hear about it every single day. And this technique helps
Mm.
because it disconnects how you feel, and I know you can't believe it. I know, Katie, you can because you tried it, you know it. But it's like it's hard to believe me, and I get it. I totally get it because you know all the reasons why you feel this way, and you can't change the why. right? Like you can't change why you feel hurt or why you feel scared. You know you are. But what if you could change how you feel about that? And that's what this technique does. So it's not what your mom said. It's not what your brother said. It's not what the school said. It's not what your teacher said. It's not what your girlfriend said. It's none of those things. The problem is how you feel about what they've done or said to you. And when we get that answer, which is very easy for us to find, when we have that answer, we can then do the technique, which takes a couple of minutes, and disconnect the feeling of how you feel about that, whatever they said or done or whatever it is. And the goal is that when you think back at that event, which you felt that way just a couple of minutes ago, when you look at that event now, you no longer feel that feeling, whatever that is.
Sure.
And that to me is emotional freedom.
Mm.
It's absolutely, this is our road to peace. This is our road to calm and no more chaos. Like this stops the chaos. This technique stops the chaos in
Mhm.
our heads. It stops the whirlwind. It stops the overwhelmed. It stops the anger, the rage, the hurt, the betrayed, the abandonment we talked about. Like it stops all of it. It stops like you can't feel embarrassed. Imagine not being able to feel embarrassed. Best feeling in the world. you know, like your confidence starts coming back. So this technique belongs in the mental health world, and we have practitioners that are offering and always will and always have offer complimentary sessions to anybody that wants to try this for free. So you could just go to our website at thefixcode.com and fill out a little form, pop over, and then pick you're going to end up on a practitioner page. Pick the person that aligns the most with you and book a session with them and try it because you'll feel better really, really quickly.
For sure. Yeah. I'm going to hop in there because you kind of gave the whole spiel in 10 minutes. Let's back up a little bit. I think that it sounds really, really powerful to, have that ability to work through emotions so quickly and be able to kind of step them aside. That emotional freedom, that's quite a term.
It
And,
is.
it's something that a lot of people really struggle with. I'm going to touch back a little bit to your first history and then also kind of what you just said about how mental health is really it's everywhere, right? At this point in the game, I think we're all struggling a little bit with mental wellness. We're all a little
Yeah.
extra stressed out, a little
Yeah.
extra sad, right? Even if we don't have a diagnosis, like we're struggling, right, as a society. And it's
Mhm.
interesting because you came from this like really high competitive sports world, essentially, where excellence was everywhere, right? And I
Yeah.
think that even in that world, things have evolved. That it used to be suck it up, buttercup, like you were saying. And then now, we have kind of some of these famous faces coming forward and saying, no, like if your mental health isn't addressed, then you can't be at that excellent level.
It's true.
And that's
It's
so
very true.
interesting to me. And so did you see that, firsthand growing up? And what are your thoughts on how sports has evolved into maybe taking mental wellness and your emotions a little bit more seriously?
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And also too, the planet itself, and I don't know where your audience goes, but the planet itself is going through a growth spurt. It
Yeah.
is expanding. So
Yeah.
the magnetics on the planet are different. If anybody's looking at the Schumann resonance, that's off the charts. If anybody's looking at solar flares, that's happening. There's a lot happening on the planet that is waking up these things that we call parasitic programs. People
Mhm.
call them emotions, negative emotions. We call them parasitic programs
Okay.
because they're parasitic in nature and they are a program and they run the shit out of us. Like they run us down, right? Like they run in our mind. They're also taxing our physical body. So not only, so I guess the best way to say it is the result in human beings on this planet in this expansion of Mother Earth, of what we're going through.
Mhm.
This is what's happening to us. We are being asked as human beings, as creating creative beings to expand. Well, it's very hard to expand when I am filled with rage. It's
Yeah.
very hard to feel love or safety when I feel abandoned.
Abandoned. Yeah.
So, right? So, what I feel like this technique does and why it's here now
Mhm.
is that this technique is designed for the ascension process. And to do that, to grow, to feel better,
Mhm.
we have to get rid of these things that are causing the problems.
Mm.
So, for example, if there was a technique to get rid of a cold, we would do it,
Sure.
right? And then none of us would have colds, which is coming. Like, I mean, now, there's all sorts of ways to do that now. But nobody's come up with a way to get rid of these horrible feelings
Mhm.
because
Parasitic programs too.
they are parasitic programs.
Which is
And my
funny because it's like we are programmed and we're taught
Yeah.
that, from a young age, we're programmed with probably quite a few parasitic programs, right? These
Oh, yeah.
negative things being told to us that then we're turning around and telling to ourselves every year over and over again.
Exactly. And between the ages of 0 and 7, so there's like a
Mhm.
little bit of like interesting information.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 0 and 7, a child, a human being, there's three developmental stages in a human being. The first one is called is imprint,
Mhm.
which is 0 to 7 years old. And between 0 and 7, the child doesn't have a guard, a force field, Daniel called it, around the unconscious mind. So everything goes in. And little people between the ages of 0 and 7 don't understand a negative in a sentence. So
Mhm.
sarcasm is literal. Like
Yeah.
they don't understand sarcasm. So if you say, "I'm telling you, you go on the road, I'm going to tell you." And the kid's like, "So you want me to go on the road? Like
Yeah.
what does mom want me to do?" Like
Right.
they're guessing because the last time mom said that I got a whooping and but she told me to go on the road. Like you go on the road. She told me to go on the road. Like
Right.
why am I this? And so when we use a negative in a sentence with children that of that age, they don't understand it. So if you say don't go on the road, they hear go on the road.
Which is
They
so
don't
funny because you're like, why does my kid always do the exact opposite of what I say? Well, you're quite literally
th-
saying it in the sentence.
this is why. Exactly. Like if this is like one of my who the heck is mommy stuff, but because
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of programs around parenting. But
Mhm.
this is like a big one. And
Yeah.
owning a gymnastics club and having this information, and my clients were 4 years old.
Mhm.
They were between 0 and 7, but most of them were 4. So I would use language. Let's all keep our feet on the purple floor today. And they're like, okay. I told them exactly what they wanted. Not, I don't want anybody on the orange mat. I don't want anybody on the yellow
Oh,
mat.
lift their
I
feet
would just
up. All I wanna do is lift their feet up. Yeah.
Exactly. So if
Mhm.
we keep our feet on the purple floor, everybody knows that's all that there's one instruction. And every parent, I'd have 50 kids a day, and every parent was like, "How do you do this? You never have a meltdown. Everybody listens to you. Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm asking them to do exactly what I want them to do. So
Exactly.
my space was very calm and very peaceful, and the children loved being there because the expectations were very clear. I wasn't playing games with them in language. I don't speak sarcastically to this day. I don't understand sarcasm, not even a little bit. I'm still very literal. So the I don't know how to play in language. It's hard, but
Mhm.
because I'm people will say things and I'm like, that was very mean. Like, and then someone's like, they're joking. I'm like, oh, it's not fun. Like that wasn't very nice. Like I don't get it. But anyway, but between the ages of 0 and 7, we are this crap is being dumped in us by our parents, by our environment, by the television, by whatever. And it's everything from this is how you back, this is sad, this is hurt, this is what, and it's just all going in.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're 7, so 7 to 14 is the second stage, which is modeling. And
Mhm.
now what you're doing is you're looking around to see how do I want to be sad? How do I want to be mad? How do I want to be rageful? Okay,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
we're learning how to do it. Now, by the time we get to high school, which is 14, so 14 to 21, this is where these things are full blown grown, but
Mhm.
the kid's only 14. But so these emotions are like bigger than them and they're out of control, which is high school, all of it. But by the time you think of a child in grade 12, they're starting to calm down. Like they're starting to get more settled in all of it. All
Mhm.
that's happening is they're getting better at managing these big things,
Yeah.
right? But grade 9 and 10, because
So
they're so big. But those are all parasitic programs, which we can at any age. Like I've got 4-year-olds I work with, I've got 90-year-olds I work with. So it doesn't matter your age.
Mm,
But one of the cool part is especially in the mental health industry, well, in all my sporting clients, like everybody, like 'cause I've got high performance athletes, the whole thing, but
mm,
and my CEOs and those guys
mhm,
is we we ask a magic question. And it's called a magic question because I didn't know what else to call it when Daniel was teaching me all of this. And I'm like, just call it the magic question. It works. And he's like, okay. And 16 later, we're still calling it the magic question. But
mhm,
here is the magic question to you and all of your listeners, because this is how smooth and non invasive this technique is. Because I don't need to know anything about what's going on with you to be able to help you. So here we go. Here's the magic question. Biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, whatever bugs you the most, keeps you up, stops you, blocks you, keeps you stuck, paralyzes you, whatever it is, whatever's going on, whatever that is, when you think about it, how does it make you feel if you could put it in one or two words? And whatever you say is what we're going to work on.
mm,
And in a couple of minutes, that horrible feeling that you can feel running through your body right now, and you're going, no, 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 I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this, is gone forever.
mm,
And all the stories that are attached to that feeling also go back into what we call the timeline and stay there. So if it happened to you at 4, it's going to stay when you're 4. It's not now going to come up now in your mind and you're going to think about it, right? Well,
right.
how many times have we been thinking about things that it's like that's 10 years ago?
Mm,
Or my mom did that when I was little, or my dad said that when I was like 10. And yet has influenced who you are today.
mhm,
So one of our goals on this planet as a species is to evolve out from these parasitic programs, to kill them,
yeah,
kind of, delete them, zap them, disintegrate them, whatever you do in this session, it doesn't matter.
sure.
But they're gone. It's like a dandelion weed. So we all know what a dandelion weed looks like when we pull it out of the grass, right?
Mhm,
And when you're looking at it on your lawn, you're like, these darn things, and they won't go away. They just keep coming back, right?
mhm,
The technique that we use metaphorically pulls this dandelion weed out with all the roots. Okay. The moment the roots hit the oxygen, I mean, this is all metaphor, but when it hits the oxygen and you throw it on the driveway, it's dead, right?
mm,
It's gone. Like
yeah,
you're never going to replant that thing. It's never going to come back into life. Someone cannot come by and go, I'm going to take that dandelion and put it in my garden and it'll
mm,
grow. It won't. It's
mm,
dead. That's what happens to these things when we do this technique. When they come out of you and metaphorically hit the oxygen, they're dead forever.
mhm,
They can't come back. And what happens is that you are left with peace and quiet. Imagine quiet in your head.
mhm. It feels like a very, like a visual guided meditation with,
Yes,
like a
exactly.
really perfect, like it's very purposeful,
Yes.
from my experience and very visual. I was impressed by, kind of where it takes you and, the vision that it gives you of that lifting. And, I
Yeah.
will say at the end, I felt much more airy because I
Yeah.
came in really weighted down
Yeah.
and, yeah, so it was definitely quite a powerful experience. Is it something that, you keep doing? Or do you keep doing it
Oh,
for
yeah.
yourself? Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I keep growing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel hurt. I don't feel sad. Like those to me are like the basic programs that are running everybody: hurt,
Mhm.
sad, abandoned, betrayed, the guilt, like the big five,
True.
I call them.
Yeah, yeah.
So we usually work through those ones pretty quick. But again, if you have a half an hour session, you can do 4 or 5 codes. Like it doesn't take very long. So
Right.
you're really going to bang out a lot of stuff really quickly. If you choose to, purchase a practitioner and like book some sessions because
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. And you can move through trauma really quickly with this, like real without ever telling anybody your trauma. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
That's nice.
um, I do absolutely use this almost like brushing my teeth. Like it is a daily, like asking myself the magic question, like biggest problem you have in your life right now when you think about it, how does it make you feel? And it's like I go inward and I'm like, ooh, oh, what was that? Like that,
Mhm.
like my heart just fluttered, like, ooh, what am I thinking about? Kind of thing. And it's like, oh yeah, that meeting later on. Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's and then it's like, oh, I actually don't feel prepared.
Yeah.
Do I have a fear of not being prepared? And then it's like, yeah, and there it is. So I use it in my life because I don't want any of these parasitic programs running me. And they take my energy. So like depression, these things are using all your energy. You
Sure.
have no energy to get up and go do anything. It's
Right.
also convincing you to sit and do nothing. That's what these parasitic programs are convincing you to do. They're telling you, they're talking to you, they're negotiating with you. So,
Yeah.
one of the biggest hints that you are being run by a parasitic program is if you're talking to somebody in your head. If you are having a conversation with a monkey in your head, yeah, that's a parasitic program. We're
Okay.
not designed to be talking to somebody in our head.
Mm.
We're not, like, no. And if it's answering you, well, it's more so that it's talking to you and you're fighting with it.
Yeah.
You are yelling at somebody. You are negotiating with somebody.
Arguing.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
arguing. Yeah, you are arguing with a parasitic program. And all it's doing is stealing your energy on
Right.
purpose. It's
Right.
taking your energy because you're exhausted by the end of your day and you really haven't done anything. You're exhausted because this thing ran you crazy all day long.
Wow.
Some people can't sleep because of it. They're
Yeah.
like going on and on and on in the
They
yeah.
can turn their
So
brain off. Yeah.
they don't know how. And
Yeah.
again, it's not that they can't turn their brain off. It's that the parasitic program is running all the memories and
Mhm.
all the conversations. And then you're jumping in and trying to solve it.
Mm.
Doesn't work.
Mhm.
How many times have you solved a problem and then you're back at the beginning again and you're doing it, you're trying to solve the same problem again and again and again. It's crazy making. So this is why I know
Mhm.
that this technique will stop the mental health crisis. I know it will. So my goal is to end the mental health crisis, anxiety and depression in 1 decade.
Wow. That's
That's my
beautiful.
mission.
That's
Yeah.
That's a beautiful mission.
Thank you.
I love
Thank you.
that.
Yeah. And so my goal is to teach, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people how to do this. Because the
Yeah.
more people we have doing this, the more people that can help in the moment. It's in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It does redirect you in the moment, which is, I think, helpful for people who are experiencing maybe severe anxiety and,
Oh yeah.
are going maybe down a depression spiral. It can help, lift you out of that. I think that it's really, yeah, it's really interesting because it seems like it combines, multiple, tools into kind of one really, like you said, short but impactful technique. And so
Yeah.
my next question is, you mentioned that this came about, as this world that we live in is in like an ascension mode. How young or old is this technique, and kind of what is the research based on? I know that you mentioned the founder of it. I'm
Yeah.
sure he has, quite a bit more, extensive history on it. But what do you know?
Yeah. Well, so it's been very fascinating 16 years as
Mhm.
business partners. So if if I take the sci-fi route of this, so the sci-fi route is that these things are parasitic in nature. They
Uh-huh.
vibrate in a frequency that we can't see, and they use our energy. They move the movement of our memory. So they move memory from a still space up into the thinking brain. We can't see any of this happening. So if if this were if like if we take ascension as a concept,
Uh-huh.
if we know, which we kind of do, that every 26,000 years this planet moves through an ascension process. It grows. So I went back in time 26,000 years ago because I was asked to by a specific um, civilization that
Mm.
is in a 5D world. So everybody knows about 3D, 4D, and 5D. It's the dimension, the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. This planet is moving into a fifth dimensional space.
Mm.
So, and this is like that hell on earth idea. So it's like the 3D world is going to remain more hell-like, going to like there's going to be a lot more chaos and that kind of thing. I don't see any of that chaos. I don't feel it. I don't associate with it. I don't even know what's going on because I don't live in it. I live in the fourth and fifth, which is quite peaceful, very dynamic, creative, inspiring. Okay, I live on the same planet as you guys, but I don't like in the 3D world. I don't want to say you guys. I mean in the 3D world.
Mm.
I don't buy into any of it. So I've detached from all of those kinds of things. So let's pretend that I knew uh, a, a a civilization that is from the fifth dimension frequency, asked me to go back 26,000 years to acquire an ascension tool for this time because we're now at the 26,000 year mark, and this planet is we're going through a warming cycle. Like the Earth is warming,
Sure.
things are changing. We're becoming high knowledge. AI has shown up. Like all of these things where we're all designed, and if you go back in any literature, the Book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, like any of these, it talks about this time of
Yeah.
where the planet is going to grow, do all sorts of things. And humanity has a choice. Are we staying? Are we going? Like, what are we doing? Are we going to grow or are we not going to grow? Um, it looks like we're growing. Like the energy is moving us definitely to growing. So, which is great.
Hmm.
This technique is a part of the growth cycle. So I went back in time, acquired this technique for this time. My soul just made sure that I was here on this planet at this time. It also made sure that I was in this little town that I had moved to. Never saw myself as a little town girl, but there I was in this little town. Never thought I'd ever be separated, or divorced or anything like that. I was married for 20 years, never saw it coming. I had to go through all these things. I had to go through the night of the trauma, all of it, to end up in this particular space, that moment where I walked in and met Daniel. So because it was the moment that everything started. It was, oh my gosh, he knew I was the person he was looking for, like from a soul level. I knew he was the person I was looking for. Couldn't believe it. It all happened very, very fast. So it was
Mm.
a very spiritual event for both of us. And then we got to work because this technique didn't have a name. It didn't know where it was going. It was very kind of like Daniel didn't know what to do with it. But Daniel's background is he's a master hypnotherapist. He's a master in NLP, which is very common
Yeah.
modalities out there. But he started learning this in the 80s, and he needed this information to be able to start connecting the dots from for the future as future thoughts were coming into him. He was starting to able to do this, and then he had an event. I believe it was in 2005 or something, or 2006, where it's called the Blue Light event, which I think is on our website. That he had a spiritual event where he walked into a hallway and he walked into like a thickness of air and he heard this sound. It was like zzz, like a laser. And he
Mm.
looked up and it was a stargate above his head, like an electrical stargate. And it scanned him and went through the floor. And in that moment, prior to him walking into the hall, he was walking to the bathroom to what he thought was going to end his life. He was like, I'm done.
Wow.
And this energy stopped him and he had this experience and all the parasitic programs were dissolved, like they were gone. So when we call it the blue light went through the floor, he no longer could feel any of those horrible feelings. So this is when it started for him because and he started to remember and awaken to this technique because he could start to see the parasitic programs. He was asking questions like why don't I feel anything but happy now? And I'm so clear and calm and he lost like 50 pounds and his body went into perfect harmony. So he was proof, and then we do keep proving it with this technique. People get healthier, calmer, more relaxed, more energy, more joyful, more happy because these things are not beating the crap out of you anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. What a journey he's
Right.
had and that you've had, and just the experiences you have had. I think that's truly amazing. So you mentioned this
Right.
at the beginning of the show, but for anyone who maybe does want a complimentary session or wants to learn more, how can they do that?
Oh, for sure. Thank you for that. So it's the website is called thefixcode.com. And right when you open it up, you're just going to put in your name and your email, click. You're going to fill out a little form, which is the magic question. And it kind of like just keep hitting submit, like do your thing and submit. And then at the very end, you're going to get a URL or a book here or something. Click that button, move over to the practitioner page and book yourself a complimentary session. You're allowed to book two, like so that, you find the right person.
Mm,
And then from there, if you're interested in learning this, let us know. And if you are interested in booking sessions, let your practitioner know because they've got all the packages there. They can like you can book an 8 pack or whatever they have. And then the other option to have fun with is if you want to do fun courses,
mm.
um,
Okay.
like inspiring and ignite your passion to purpose, or um, bridge to your authentic self, or get your pink back, like get your sass back.
Cool.
And it's all loaded with really, really fun educational information, but it's also deep diving into your own healing.
Yeah.
And the goal is that you buy the course and have fun going through this in the internal growth and questioning, like you're questioning and coming up with some really good answers,
Mm,
but you back it with a practitioner. So for example, if you're doing, let's say, get your pink back and you're afraid of being sassy. I'm making it up, but like like you're embarrassed, you're shy or whatever. So in the course, I'm talking about like stepping out and having that courage, and you're like, not going to happen.
mm,
That's when you work with your practitioner and say, okay, I absolutely have a fear of being center of attention, or the fear of putting myself out there, or the fear of being publicly humiliated, or whatever it is. And you do the inner work with the practitioner. And so the courses kind of move you through fun stuff, but you then back it up with deep healing. So there's all sorts of ways that we support mental health in all ways. But yes, please, if you want to try this, click the button and go for it. Our practitioners are ready and very honored to be able to help. And also, the goal is to help as many people as we can. So
yeah.
if you are listening to this and you are not okay, or you don't want to feel a certain way ever again, and you're done feeling that way, you want to let it go, click that button because this does help. It does every single time.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I think my listeners will be so grateful just for that opportunity to try it out, a new tool, a new
Yes,
technique, something different to try if other things haven't been working. That's what it's all about is just to
awesome.
keep going, to keep trying to get better and continue the healing journey. Ugh,
Yeah,
I tell you,
and to feel better, like
it,
just to feel better. Like the reason we're
exactly
on a healing journey is to
right.
feel better.
Right.
Yeah, get our lives back and have fun. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be having fun.
I love that. I love that. Well, you seem
Yeah,
like so much fun. Thank you so much
nice.
for coming on my show.
Thank
It was
you.
really wonderful to learn about this technique, like I said, and to just learn a little bit about your story
Thank
and,
you.
the journey that you've been on. So I'm so
Hey,
grateful. And for everyone who's listening, this has been Watching Mental Health. You can see all of our episodes at katierosewechter.com and also check us out at Watching Mental Health on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast, and expect new episodes on Wednesdays. Have a good one. We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.
bye.